Hey, thanks for coming. Welcome to the Love Shack.
Hey, welcome to the Love Shack, a little old place where we get together, explore fresh perspectives, eavesdrop on juicy conversations, and uncover mysteries that nobody talks about, but absolutely influences our relationships. If you are struggling in your marriage, just starting out in a new relationship, or are single and looking to do better next time, this is the show for you. I am Stacey Bartley, and I am here with my co-host and lover, Tom. Together for the past decade, we've been teaching and loving on people from around the world with the sole purpose of helping singles and couples create and experience love for a lifetime in their relationships, both with themselves and others.
And a quick shout out to our listeners, wherever you are. Bottom line is thank you for sharing some of your most precious resource, your time with us. Just a reminder, we are live every week at Thursday at 1 p.m. on KKNW. And we're also streaming on YouTube and streaming on Facebook. Bottom line is we're trying to serve and meet you wherever you are. And again, thank you so much for spending a few moments of your day. And our goal is always to give you some nugget, some piece of inspiration, something to help add to this most important part of our life, which is love and relationships.
Yeah, and if you would help us spread the love by sharing this and previous shows with the people in your life that matter most, we'd sure appreciate it. And thanks for those who do. Bottom line, wherever you are in this moment, thank you so much for listening. And it's great to be here with you. Today, we have an incredible conversation and guest, by the way, that's going to help us with this conversation. We're going to talk about technology and relationships and what is that impact that they have on one another. You know, we all are aware that technology has a huge impact on our relationships, from the way we find potential partners to the way that we communicate with each other when we're in relationships. We literally have the universe at our fingertips, right? We can dial up anything, Google search anything, and we do this with our phones every single day. But what we're starting to see is that this sometimes sacrifices the connection with the human beings that are actually sitting around with us day to day, that are in our lives. The ones that are closest to us oftentimes get sacrificed because of the scrolling that we're doing. So today, we want to ask the all-important question. Are we using technology as a superficial substitute for connection and or perhaps an escape hatch to avoid confronting the stress and anxieties that we know love and life can bring? Which only leads to, of course, sacrificing the thing that we say that we want the most. So today, right here in the Love Shack, we're going to be joined by Mike Gorday. He considers himself to be a human solutions consultant in the Pacific Northwest. He combines his expertise in human behavior, which includes over 20 years in the helping fields of addiction, mental health, and disabilities. He's also a co-host right here on the popular Tech Time radio show, which airs here on KKNW Saturdays at 4 p.m. He truly is, in our opinion, the perfect person to help us explore this question, as well as help us to uncover the impact that technology truly has on our relationships. Stay tuned for this conversation and many other little goodies. We're going to be right back with What You Drinking. So grab your favorite beverage.
Ready to learn the most important thing you can do to revitalize your relationship today? Go to staceybartley.com/fairydust. staceybartley.com/fairydust. This is the number one thing Stacey teaches her VIP clients that has the power to improve the health of your relationship today. Learn how sprinkling a little fairy dust in your relationship can stop arguments in their tracks, rekindle your spark, and take your difficult conversations from the struggle bus to easy street.
Are you tired of sitting on a couples counselor's couch and feeling like you're just rehashing the past and making no progress? Do you feel like you're holding on to your relationship but panicked you're losing your partner? It's time to learn how to deepen your connection, finally resolve the arguments that keep coming up, understand yourself and your partner, and create the level of intimacy you've been dreaming of. It's time for love to tingle your toes again. Schedule your private session with relationship expert Stacy Bartley at stacybartley.com/checkup.
Hello, I'm Nathan Mum. Join me and Mike Gorday as we host a weekly technology show that talks about technology for the everyday common person. We are a live radio program that airs Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you go to facebook.com/TechTime Radio, youtube.com/TechTime Radio, or twitch.tv/TechTime Radio, you can catch us live Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. You can find us at all podcast services online, from Apple to Google and everything in between.
Tell your friends about Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back, everybody. We're Tom and Stacy Bartley, your hosts of Love Shack Live. We're excited to be coming to you and have a very special guest all about technology in our relationships. But before we get to that,
We're going to talk about what we're drinking. And what we're drinking is champagne, always. Why? Because champagne is something that celebrates life. And unfortunately, for most of us, that celebration happens, once or twice a year, maybe on New Year's Eve, maybe on Christmas Day. But we're here to promote the idea that every day is a day to celebrate. And so we want to encourage you to take this ride with champagne, or any kind of a sparkling beverage for that matter, if champagne's not your thing. Tom and I are going to be trying champagnes from around the world, and we'll tell you all about what we think of them. And today we're drinking one right from our very own Napa Valley. We're privileged, and are we privileged? Sometimes I wonder. I've always said to Tom, if it wasn't for the wine and it wasn't for the weather, California, business-wise, we might, have a bit of a ghost town, but that's a conversation for another time. Today we are drinking one from right here in our Napa Valley called, Tommy, say it. You sound so French.
Chandon.
Yo, I love that. So sexy. Say it again.
Chandon.
So it's a beautiful bottle of wine. We've never had this one before. Swim before. Holy cow. So the champagne blew up the speed. So here we are drinking. Say it again, honey.
Chandon.
I love that. Okay. So listen, we're going to step into a follow the fun moment for you. And today we're going to combine two of my very favorite things. Tommy, do you know what those are?
I would say one that we're sharing with our audience is having a wonderful glass of champagne.
Well, that's true. But I'm actually referring to chocolate and kissing. And so today's fun tip is a mix of these. So here's how it rolls. I'm going to encourage you to pick up a bag of chocolate Hershey Kisses. They're delicious. We all know what they are, and we've all eaten them. Hold on, there's more. What I want you to do is I want you to pull out all the little paper things that stick out of those little kissies. You know what I'm saying? Just pull the little papers out and put a little collection together on the side. And then place them in a box or a bag that you can actually offer up as a gift, with a card inside that explains each and every little slip of paper is a coupon that is redeemable for one kiss each. Now that's fun, honey, and sweet, right?
Oh.
So there's your follow the fun tip this week. Come on, try it out.
So again, you take the little things that you pull out of there that have something on there. What's on those little sayings? I don't know.
Sometimes they say kiss.
Okay.
They actually say the word kiss, but sometimes they're just a little slip of paper. But, have you ever thought that you can gather them up and you can actually redeem them? And I mean, if you want to get creative, you could redeem them for more than a kiss, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Right?
Radio show friendly.
Yes. So kissing is a wonderful thing, and we don't get enough of it, especially right now. So anyway, moving on. Let me know how you like it. We'd love to hear as you take and follow the fun and put these into your relationship. We'd love to hear how you go. You can just go to our website and send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And by the way, if you're not on our fun list, you need to get on our fun list, because we're going to be doing some giveaways next Thursday on the show live. And you can get on the fun list and you can receive all kinds of fun tips like this and all smattering of other things that are just fun by going to our website, stacybartley.com/fun list. So get on there. And next week, we're going to be doing our first giveaway ever.
I don't think there's too many people on that list. Again, I'm kind of a numbers guy. Probably would, what's that disclaimer? Chances will probably be greater now than they are in the future. Just saying.
So guess what time it is? Tom's tantalizing moment
or tip.
Yeah,
tip. Tom's tantalizing tip.
Mm-hmm. So take it away.
Yeah. So I was getting gas. I know that's a tip. No, I was getting gas there. I think it was over the weekend. I came home, and so I just was, viewing across the aisle of the gas station there, and I saw a gentleman, sitting against the side of his car, his pickup truck, like I was sitting against the side of our car, and then all of a sudden, again, I have no idea what prompted. I wasn't spying. I just was viewing across the aisles there, so to speak, and he opened his door and reached in, and there was I could tell just because I could see it, like a little wiener dog, and grabbed the little dog's, face in its hands and got really, really close physically, his face to the dog's face. And what we like to say, like, coochie, 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 and again, we've got a coon dog that I'm looking at right now, sound asleep. So, but what struck me, and I came home and shared this with Stacy, and she said, I think that'd be a good Tom's tantalizing tip was, why is it, that, again, I have no idea what prompted that gentleman to do so, but I said, why that would be more socially acceptable. And everyone say, oh God, cute little dog, rather than, I wonder how often we're compelled or inspired to do that with our loved ones, just because there was nothing that I certainly saw in my visual. And I'm a pretty keen visual person that I think prompted him to do so. So why wouldn't we do that same kind of just random coochie, coochie, coochie with our loved ones?
Yeah. I'm going to call this tip the sharing the coochie, coochie, which means kindness, like love, appreciation, right? The coochie, coochie moment where we're just for no reason at all out of the blue, we just go, oh, I just love
and again,
you.
That would be more socially acceptable because I have to say, I'm going to start taking notes, but I don't know if I've ever seen someone as I get gas, because I drive quite a bit. I've seen open up their car and do that with, I could see maybe a little baby, a brand new newborn would probably, but again, it's just like, what is it? Why is that like that?
You're causing me to think, every morning I get to walk our coon dog and I pass a lot of people, and it's amazing how many friends you meet. And as I meet friends, they're always stopping to pet the dog or want to know what the dog's name is. And they don't ever ask me what my name is. There's not an exchange between the humans, only through the dog. Oh, that's such a great dog. Oh, your dog. Oh, coochie, coochie. What's his name? Right. Oh, I love hound dogs. And then bye. Have a nice day. And so I've made it an intentional part of saying, hey, I'm Stacy. Who are you? And that part, unless I initiate it, completely gets negated. And so it's just this idea, right, babe, of like, gosh, what is that about? Right? Is it because we are so nervous about sharing ourselves with another human that it's easier to do it through other means, like a pet?
Well, it just, we have a wonderful place where we go as we prepare for our show. And it literally just happened, a few hours ago, Jiggy, our dog, Let's Get Jiggy, he was laying down and some people came over, and only because Stacy initiated, hi, my name is Stacy. And there was, 4 or 5 gentlemen. So it's not that there's not risk, because, I've seen Jiggy bite, in fact, family members. So, it's not that there's not potential physical risk, but I would sense that there's more risk, we think, with emotional risk than physical risk.
I would agree. And I think that we put ourselves in situations unknowingly or unaware in these physical environments. Like, people pet down, just reach down and pet him, and he's pretty friendly. But like Tom says, he has been known to bite. So it's not like there's not any risk there. And some people come and put their face right in his face. And I'm like, oh, that's a bad program. That's how he's bit somebody. You startle him and he's gonna bite. So it's like you said, babe, not that there isn't physical risk there. There's not risk there, but there's risk when I say, hey, I'm Stacy, and who are you? Maybe they'll get grumpy and walk away. But most times, I would say there was more risk physically with the dog than there ever was saying hello to somebody, right? And so they blow you off, and
the worst, they may choose not to respond. But I mean,
that's as bad as it's going to get. At least you won't be going to get stitches or something, right? And so it is a fascinating conversation that gosh, we're just inviting you to ponder today. Where is it that you're maybe not sharing coochie coochie with the people that you love the most, right? And it doesn't have to be, oh, I love you so much. It could just be, gosh, I so appreciate you, or gosh, I was thinking of you today, and I just want you to know, oh, I really like you, or gosh, so great to have you here. I so appreciate that. All of these things, they breathe new life into all of us, not only the person that's sharing it, but the person that's receiving it. And we all need so much more of that in our lives today.
And I would just add one more thing. I mean, for those of us that have been together for, anything more than, say, whatever new would be for you, again, that's pretty easy when things are new.
Mm-hmm.
But once we get a little bit of a history underneath, I would say, like, look, that's a daily. And I mean, what do you mean, Phyllis? We've been together for 27 years, and you see all I provide for you. I'm having some fun here, but that's not how it works. You can't do too many of these deposits, if you will. I never get overwhelmed with the amount of, I'm blessed and privileged that Stacy demonstrates to me. And I hope it's vice versa, meaning it doesn't get old. Mm-hmm. I mean, the sweetest sound to any of us is the sound of our name. I think that's William James, if I remember that,
Well, and as many times as we hear it, we can't hear it enough, and we don't hear it enough. So being reminded that you matter and that you're appreciated and that you're heard are really, at the end of the day, the three things that we're always fighting for. And so knowing that really gives us a leg up. We can just kind of go there and, give the people that you really care about, your good friends, your lovers, your kids, your business partners, let them know that you care, right? Let them know that they're valuable and important to you. And any old time is a great time. And I promise you, we can't get enough of it. I like that tip. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, and for those of you that are wondering, I know you're probably waiting, just, baited. It wasn't Charo, at the gas station.
I love that.
Well, we're having some fun with our incredible, very wise and very colorful engineer, Eric. Nice job, Eric. Yeah. It wasn't, but it was probably, that's what you would think of. And again, so anyway.
That's what I immediately thought of when you said coochie coochie coo. That was her catchphrase. So.
Nice job. See how we're supported?
Well, I know. It's incredible. So this is Tom's share the coochie coochie moment.
Yeah. But again, but all kidding aside, again, just look, I love it. But why is that more probably the rule than the exception? And why wouldn't we do some version of that as easily and sporadically with our loved ones? Mm-hmm. That's all I'm asking for all of us, me included.
Evaluate. Yeah.
And I just happen to be blessed to just watch it in real time. Mm-hmm. So there we go.
Yeah, I love it.
Stay tuned for next week's tantalizing tip.
Oh, Tom's knocking it out of the park. I really like what did you call that character you just did?
Coochie, coochie, coochie.
No, the Phil guy. Phyllis, Fred.
Oh, yeah.
Fred, do it again one more time.
Phyllis, what do you mean, do I care? For God's sakes, I've been supporting this family for 27 years.
Of course I love you.
Of course I love you.
Well, drum roll, please. We're going to move into the heart of the matter today. The heart of the matter is where we get to bring on our fantastic guest, Mike Gorday. Mike has been a master in forensic psychology and backed in over 20 years of experience working in the psychology field and assisting those with addiction, mental health, and disabilities. In my world, we call that really heavy lifting. So in addition to his specialized training and certifications in facial expressions and muscle movement, he also is an expert in body language, which gives him the ability to understand human behavior and why it is us humans do what we do. He's also an incredible co-host on the wonderful show Tech Time Radio that broadcasts right here on KKNW. And so in our opinion, Mike is the perfect person to come on and be our guest as we explore this incredible question that must be asked. Is technology something that we are using as a superficial gateway to the connection that we all long for and desire? And is it also an escape hatch when we don't know how to deal with love and stress anxieties that are inevitable in life? So, Mike, come on, we're ready to welcome you on the show.
Very. So just Mike's, he's an expert in facial, so we need to make sure that
our face expressions are appropriate.
How are we looking, Mike? Everything okay?
I think you're okay. It's hard to do it when I'm looking at a camera and can't see the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, Mike, is this something that you still do quite a bit in your life? The facial expression kinds of evaluations?
I'm always looking at faces and body movements and yeah. So the quick answer is yeah, I do that all the time, and it fascinates people and freaks them out at the same time.
I was going to say that must be tough on a date, like
yeah. I've gotten it in a lot of trouble for that, and people say I put them in a fishbowl, and that's just part of the thing. So it's very intimidating, I guess.
Yes.
But we all like our masks, as human beings. We have our masks, and we go out and we use them, and we have our professional mask, and we have our dating mask, and we have our parent mask, and it's very difficult when somebody is looking behind those masks unless we let them. And when I come along and I can kind of see things that are going on, it's intimidating.
No doubt. And the level of playing field would be leveled, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if I had the same skill that you had. But when I don't, then I feel like you can see things or understand things that maybe I don't even see and understand about myself, right?
Yeah, in a sense. Some people think I'm psychic and can read minds, but that's not the case either. And that's very scary for people too.
Yeah.
I'm just having thoughts. Would you say that with all your training, Mike, that what you're seeing, through somebody's facial expressions pretty much fits, and is in sync, in harmony with how their other things that are going on in their life?
Yeah. It's more complex than it sounds, and I can't really say that I understand human behavior. I don't think any of us can, but when our expressions contradict what we're saying, there's something there. And when they are congruent, that's where we get that genuineness, that genuine connection.
It's kind of like when I teach it in our work, is the physical and the emotional, like the physical look of it and the feel of it line up and they're congruent, then we all kind of go, oh, all right, that makes sense. But if there's something that's awry there, we can pick up on that, whether we understand facial recognition or not. And we go, that doesn't really feel right? That's usually how it shows up for us.
Right. It's intuitive for a lot of folks. It's more intuitive for females usually than males. But we all have that intuitive gathering of information because our subconscious mind is constantly looking for threats and data points. So we get a feeling that something's off. That's usually our subconscious alerting us to some incongruent behavior or word exchange or something.
I love that. Well, so gosh, let's, we could have a whole show on that. We need to have you come back and start talking about the human behavior piece, right? But that's really not what we're supposed to talk about. So I'm going to reel this back in and let's start with, not to put you on the spot, Mike, but I know that you're in the dating pool and that's how you ended up on the show.
Yeah.
Right?
Somebody threw me under a bus.
And so let's start on that piece of technology, because that piece of technology is very pervasive in the relationship conversation, right? Where we feel like we can't even meet people out in person anymore, that it must be done through some piece of technology. So I'd love your thoughts on that. And then give us an idea of what it was like to be on the online dating platforms and what your experience there has been. It's kind of...
Oh, Lord, that's kind of a complicated
question.
So I hate it.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem with it is it's very superficial, whether it's, most of it is picture based, it's visual based. So like Tinder, you swipe, and Bumble, you swipe, and then you've got eHarmony, which they give you these awesome assessments that really mount to nothing. And then they give you pictures. So everything is based on this visual concept. And then you open up with texting, and a lot of this stuff follows this kind of weird format where you text, then maybe you call and talk, and then maybe you do a video chat, and then maybe you get together. Now, COVID is putting a big spin on a lot of this stuff, of course, but it's a very superficial way of trying to make a connection, which I have a lot of trouble doing. I don't like texting back and forth unless we've been together, unless there's a connection, then we can text all the time. But trying to suss out. I've had potential dates that I've asked these sort of, they thought were incisive questions, and then they don't want to go any further because they think, oh my God, I need to have a sit down and I'm not ready for that. Blah, blah, blah. It's
it really
cool.
is something that we hide behind, isn't it? It really is something that, and the other thing that I think that's interesting about this piece of technology is on the front side of this, you talked about masks earlier. Gosh, we can present anything, right? And I'm wanting to present my best self, but sometimes as human beings, we kind of tend to take it a little further. And then when the rubber meets the road, I'm really not anything like I had presented myself to be, right?
Yeah, it's so funny because human beings, it's like the dating apps are like going shopping. You go to the grocery store and you're looking for the particular set of ingredients that you want, but everybody throws up the same ingredients. You know, for the most common ones I see on women's profiles are looking for somebody who's kind, honest, and communicative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have all these other things. We're messy. Human beings are messy.
They're so messy.
Oh, I love that. We say we're mess making machines, Mike. So we're right there with you.
Yeah, and so we want to present these images of perfection, and part of that is generated by the media and the way we think we should be doing things. And so we're always constantly image engineering everything, and there's nothing more image engineering than these dating profiles where, you know, you can look online and find out how many ways you can make your profile picture better, or standing in front of a Porsche to make you look rich even though it's not your Porsche, or, you know, there's all kinds of these crazy things that you can do to present some image to somebody who's looking for a connection. And it's all superficial.
Mm-hmm. It is so superficial.
Wow, I love that.
And
Image engineering.
It is.
Yeah, that's
wow.
It's a really, it is. And we do it in marketing all the time, but we just never really probably thought about marketing ourselves in the dating pool, right? To find a special someone, I would market myself. And that's really what it's turned into. You can even hire somebody to do your profile.
Yeah, exactly. And this is all psychologically based. This is all based on, if you look in the animal kingdom, we're doing that too, right? The males are all plume and gruff and fighting, and the females are looking for the ones that are going to be the best, the whole peacock thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so we do it too. We're all doing the same thing. We're presenting this I'm a perfect mate thing in order to attract the attention of our potential mates. And this is what these things are doing. These platforms are simply brochures.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really well said. I like that. And what's interesting is you've described a process that can take sometimes not just days, not just hours, but weeks and months till I get to the point where we're actually going to meet face to face.
Yeah.
If we were to just meet face to face, I could tell you in nanoseconds whether this was something that I wanted to pursue or not. Right. So we've taken this very normal human, you know, something that is our physiological, biological abilities, and we've turned it into this process, this long, drawn out process. And you're no different than a lot of the clients that we talk to. They are so sick of it, and it's so draining. Like, it's so draining, right? And yet we bought into this idea that there's no other way to go about it. So what are the parts that you like about it? What are the parts that you feel like maybe work a little bit to help us out in finding ourselves or finding relationships overall?
Well, one, there's a lack of emotionality involved, right? So it's easy, right? So the popularity of Tinder is I think based on the fact that you can reject a whole bunch of people and they're never going to know it, right? So we can swipe to our heart's content, and somebody who swipes on us and we swipe on them, we have a connection, and that gives us a shot of dopamine. And then we start carrying on this sort of very safe, emotionally safe conversation. It's not like walking up to a woman in a bar and asking them their names, right? And we're all there supposedly for the same thing. So we already have created this arena where, okay, this is expected behavior.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you're kind of bringing up this concept everybody gets a trophy, right? Nobody has to take on nobody has to take on
No.
the risk of rejection, right?
Yeah,
Everybody
don't
gets a
talk about
trophy. Don't worry about it. You can come to this little app and you don't have to worry about getting rejected or not getting it right, or
Yeah.
risking that emotional sense of rejection.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we use technology in order to feel safer. In fact, that's probably the best way of explaining it, where all of our technology is built around the idea of making our lives more comfortable, more safer, more secure.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing so, we try to solve one problem, and then we create all these other problems here. Because even with the video platform, we can only see a little bit of each other. But if we're sitting across from each other in physical real life, we're getting all kinds of data that we're just not getting over a text or over a phone call or over a video date. We're getting subtle cues, we're getting facial expressions, we're getting tonal changes in the voice. There's so many things that are going on that we pick up on when we're physically present. And each one of these ways of dealing with it kind of cuts a lot of that out. Texting being probably the most basic. So that would be like smoke signals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here, you're over there. Okay, we know each other is there, and I can say, well, what's your favorite color? Okay, great. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this doesn't just affect us in our dating pool either. I want to point out that, technology is really impacting long-term relationships as well. And some of the points on that, I'd love your thoughts on that as well, because what I see is, we're distracted by our phones.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not present with our romantic partners, regardless of where we are, or our families or our children. And coupled with that, we also see these incredible posts of other people in our lives on social media and how perfect their lives are and where they're going and where they're traveling to. And we're like, come on, Fred, look what Sammy and Joe are doing. Come on, pull it together. And I start to become dissatisfied in my relationship based on what I'm seeing online.
Right, and not only that, there's the FOMO stuff, the fear of missing out stuff, and the grass is greener stuff. So you're constantly getting bombarded with messages that there's better potential partners out there, right? Because I can go online and look. I don't know how many of these sites have been destroyed by how many married people are on them, kind of things. And the distractibility factor is pretty bad. And it does create a lot of rifts in the relationship.
So would you say, Mike, is there any correlation between a more maybe premium online dating service, dating app that would get you potentially a better result versus more of a baseline or a free version?
Well, they're all designed to get your money, right? So if you get on some of these, you can see pictures, and then if you want to message them, you have to pay to upgrade, right? You pay to upgrade, you get to text them, you get the premium, you get to do video chat. So everything is built on this idea that it's a progressive system.
Mm-hmm. Monetization.
And it really amounts to the same thing. Is are you going to make a connection with this person? And some of these outfits, I think a lot of them use bots or fake dating profiles that actually contact you and try to keep you interested in keeping you spending more money.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so that brings me to a point where I would like to know if personally you've ever experienced the human behavior of comparing yourselves to other people, because that's a huge problem on the platforms of technology as well, where I'm comparing my life or who I am or how I look or what I have or where I go or what I do with other people, right? Whether that's in a profile type of a context like a dating platform, or it's in a social media feed on my Facebook, Instagram, etc. Is that something that as you're out there you kind of wrestle with? I know I sure do. I'm just gonna call it. I do, and I have to be really careful about going down that rabbit hole of comparing myself to others and going, oh man, look what they're doing. Oh honey, come on, we gotta pull it together. I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be human if I didn't say that I did not do stuff like that. But I think the older I get, the less I care. So, and I don't know if that's just me or if that's just a getting older thing. You just stop comparing yourself to other people at some point. But yeah, we all want to achieve things, and our society is designed around this. There's a lot of social structures that suggest that we need to look a certain way, we need to act a certain way, and we need to have a certain amount of money, that creates this need to attain it, keeping up with the Joneses. That is a big one. And human beings, we're social and hierarchical animals. So we need each other, and then we need to find our pecking order. And so we are driven to compete. And when we take that into our modern society, we're competing with resources like money and bling and other things. And we forget that there are other gifts that we can give our partners, like attention and humor and things like that. Because I don't know how many relationships have suffered because it's all about trying to make money or trying to get something, some sort of financial security. I know I did it with my marriage. When I was married, I was trying to make sure that everybody was supported, and so I was working ungodly hours, and I was going to school and all this other stuff, and taking away attention from what was going on.
Yeah. And, there's a wonderful part that if I don't do that consistently, it's almost like I get bottled up in the ability to share myself or to communicate or to speak up, because we haven't done it in so long, right? It's like, if it's not a consistent muscle that we're flexing, it seems to be something that we kind of lose the ability, or shall we say the courage to do. It's just easier not to say anything, right?
Yeah. The law of familiarity, right? One of the relational things that goes on is that we are together and we get through that initial awesomeness phase, and then we just sort of exist in the same track, and we become like roommates, and we stop communicating with each other, and and it's kind of a tragedy if you think about it, because there's so many things you can share.
So true. I'm in the process of writing a book called Marriage is Dead, not because I'm anti-marriage, but because I want to just dispel the idea that we get married, we find our special someone, and check, handled, right?
Yeah,
I don't even need to worry about it
checkbox
anymore.
Yeah.
It is not a checkbox. It's a very fluid, dynamic process for sure. So indeed, with this comparison piece, and by the way, if we're feeling like we're fear of missing out, or somebody else is doing better than my partner is, and I become dissatisfied in my relationship, it's important for us to remember and discover that we can present anything in the illusion of online and through those pieces of technology, right? And so many times I have couples that have come in after they've sacrificed some of their relationships, and then they only discover and find out that the other person that they thought was perfect online is actually just maybe sometimes more challenged or messy than the person that they just let go of. And they're like, hey, we forget that, behind the scenes, I like to say human first. Number one, I don't care what you are after that, but we're human first. And by nature of that, right, we're messy.
Right.
We are so messy, just like you said.
Right. And it's just natural for us to want to hide the things that we think are unacceptable and show off the things that are acceptable. That's just human behavior. And this is how it comes out in technology and these platforms, is that we always it's always best foot forward. What's that old commercial? You only get one time to make a first impression. You remember that? And there's so much importance hung on to that, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, because you've always got a do-over, right? If you mess it up, you can always ask for a do-over and try again, right? Take another crack at it.
Yeah, sometimes people will do do-overs.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you agree then in that technology, if we were to kind of like put it on a scale from 1 to 5, does it increase our anxiety, right, more than it takes away, or does anything for us in our relationship realm? What's your call on that?
I think it's dependent on how you're using it. It's a tool, and as long as we keep it that way, I think that's when it, because there's nothing better than having a bad day at work and getting this text from your loved one that says, "Hey, I miss your face." But if that's the primary means in which I'm trying to seek connection, there's a lot of issues there. We already seen that social media, while it's been this awesome thing at connecting people around the globe and this whole thing, it's created a system of addiction, and depression rates skyrocket because people aren't getting their dopamine hits because they don't get enough likes on their posts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is affecting our youth more than it is affecting a lot of people that are older who have seen the evolution of this. But we have to remember that technology is here to serve us. We don't serve technology. Technology is here to serve us, and how we use that technology, I think, brings about whether it's a wholly positive or wholly negative experience. But we're going to get a blending of the two regardless.
Mm-hmm. You know, we looked up an interesting statistic that was done in a survey recently where 66% of all Americans check their phones 160 times a day, and half of those confess to sleeping with it as well.
Actually, it was about the same percentage, just a point or two off, admitted to sleeping with their phone.
Yeah. It's these things are almost attached to our hips now.
Yeah.
We can't do anything without them. And that's how that society, then that's a function of societal and personal psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So as we start to land our Mike, we're going to have you back because there's lots of things we can have fun with here. But as we start to land this particular episode, let me ask what, again, with your unique, combination of skill sets and experience and where you find yourself right now, what would you say? Two questions. The first one, what would you say would be the best use of technology, for people that are in a similar place or people that have been in a relationship as a whole? And then number two, what would be the worst use of it?
The best use of it is, well, it's emotionally safe, right? We already talked about that. So it's a great way. It is a great way of meeting people.
Okay.
The worst you can do is relying on that to keep facilitating the connection. You have to move. You really need to move it to something where you're either you're going to not connect anymore, or you're going to actually meet the person.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And that it's a sorting tool. Like I said, it's like going to the grocery store. I go and I buy a particular brand of peaches. I come home and I eat it. I don't like it. I know I'm not going to buy that peach anymore. So it's the same thing here.
Oh, I love that. Well, Mike, thank you so much for being here. And I know that you're here as part of the team for Tech Time Radio, right? They're responsible for you being here on the show with us today. And I really want to say thank you because it's been such a pleasure and such a delight. Do you by chance have anything that you would like to say back to your team at Tech Time Radio?
Get a life.
Oh, all right.
All right. A little inside joke for all of us here.
Yeah. Maybe stop throwing people under the bus. I don't know.
It wasn't too painful, right, Mike? It wasn't so bad. Were we?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are great. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's been great.
No, it's great to have you here so much. So, Mike, also I want to give you a moment to let people know where they can connect more with you. Give yourself a shout out here. We'd love to give you that moment here on the show.
Oh, sure. If you're interested, you can hit me up on mikegorday.com, or if you're interested in my podcast, which is separate from Tech Time Radio, it's whatdrivesyou.net. I'm currently between seasons, and techtimeradio.com.
Oh, that's great. We're going to definitely have you come on back, Mike. Have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for being with us.
All right. You too. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So, babe, I'm not necessarily a poet, but I want you to know I wrote a poem. And can I share it here on the air?
You may.
Would you be okay with that?
I'm good with that.
I think it was such an appropriate thing to kind of wrap up our conversation as we move into the final segments of our show. And the poem is actually originally written by a woman by the name of Louise Wise, not Hayes, but Wise. And I thought I'm going to revise this to kind of fit our format today. So here it goes.
Okay.
Ready?
Here we go.
So many online connections that are playing out with our posts, our likes and our dislikes. Instead of two people filling up a room, sharing and connecting as lovers do, it's what so-and-so just posted and what others had to say about it. It's no longer you and me, but now 23 or more and me. I no longer laugh with you, nor you with me. We laugh together because of posts and comments instead of, the avoiding of sharing ourselves with each other. And the more that we do this, the more passive our relationship becomes. Our online friends permit us to walk through life with minor sharing of self and speaking parts. And the more we fail to speak, the more difficult speaking becomes. What do you think?
Nice job.
Is there potential there?
Nice job. Yes.
That was an incredible conversation. And I know that technology is here to stay, but we've got to actually start looking at how do we engage with technology and what is the impact and effect that it has on our relationships, because we are in control of technology. I thought that was a really great point that Mike made. Like, it's made to serve us, not us serve technology. And so we have to be careful about how we engage with it, make sure that it's inspiring us and improving our lives and not breaking us down, creating more anxiety, more depression, etc. So let's go. Should we do the next one?
You bet.
We need to take a break for a minute, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be right back and kind of let that settle in. And then we'll finish up with a rant and a fairy dust moment and let you know how this champagne is. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Nathan Mum. Join me and Mike Gorday as we host a weekly technology show that talks about technology for the everyday common person. We are a live radio program that airs Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you go to facebook.com/TechTime Radio, youtube.com/TechTime Radio, or twitch.tv/TechTime Radio, you can catch us live Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. You can find us at all podcast services online, from Apple to Google and everything in between.
Ready to learn the most important thing you can do to revitalize your relationship today? Go to stacybartley.com/fairydust. stacybartley.com/fairydust. This is the number one thing Stacy teaches her VIP clients that has the power to improve the health of your relationship today. Learn how sprinkling a little fairy dust in your relationship can stop arguments in their tracks, rekindle your spark, and take your difficult conversations from the struggle bus to easy street.
Are you tired of sitting on a couple's counselor's couch and feeling like you're just rehashing the past and making no progress? Do you feel like you're holding on to your relationship but panicked you're losing your partner? It's time to learn how to deepen your connection, finally resolve the arguments that keep coming up, understand yourself and your partner, and create the level of intimacy you've been dreaming of. It's time for love to tingle your toes again. Schedule your private session with relationship expert Stacy Bartley at stacybartley.com/checkup.
No other station delivers this much variety. Alternative Talk 1150.
You're pointing at something.
Just a little tech. Welcome back, Tom and Stacy Bartley here. Lots of moving parts. It's exciting. We are your hosts of Love Shack Live. Shout out to Mike Gorday, co-host of Tech Time Radio. That was awesome. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, please revisit, and really shared some lots of value bombs there, if you will, in a good way. Now we are back as we start to land this show. We are going to share a fairy dust moment.
Yeah, I know. A fairy dust moment is just an opportunity where we have people call in and we actually share, a moment of appreciation, that coochie that we talked about in our tip earlier today, with someone that they love. And we play that clip here for you to enjoy. It's really fun. We really love it. If you, by chance, want to do your own fairy dust moment, especially with Mother's Day coming up,
yes,
you can go to our site and you too can leave us a fairy dust moment. We'll read them on the air, as well as you can peruse other fairy dust moments that people.
And where you find that is stacybartley.com/rant moment,
because we do rants too. But today we're doing a fairy dust moment. So let's cue up that clip right now. This is an incredible mom who's given a shout out to her son. I don't know about you, but it really warmed my heart. Eric.
Thanks. Our awesome is just giving us one moment here as we drum roll, please.
Nope, maybe not. Well, so what ends up happening here is, again, like we were saying, you can go and do the fairy dust moment. Eric, just let us know when you're ready with that. In the meantime, I'm going to read a rant that came in from Carolyn. She says, "Why don't I see the red flags? My boyfriend sent me home on his birthday, and I thought we were going to do something special. It turned out he met another gal that night that he'd known for years. And the next night he had me come back and I went. Unbelievable. He did some crazy stuff like renting a movie for us to watch that had snakes in it when he knew that I have a horrible phobia of snakes, even in a movie. How can I be more alert to red flags next time around?" I want to just point out that you do see the red flags. You are very privy to the red flags. It's about letting them go by us. That's the problem. So the next time that you see a red flag, say something and make a different choice. Don't just roll over them like they don't exist. It's about doubting yourself. That's the problem. All right. So let's cue up that fairy dust moment again from a mom to a son, where it's very touching. And she tells him exactly how she feels about him. Give him a little love. Nope.
Maybe not. It's
Maybe.
okay.
Okay. Well,
We're live. Here we
If
go.
you are fortunate enough in life, if you're lucky enough, you will cross paths with a soul that will.
It's okay.
That was last week.
You know what? We're going to come back to that. We'll
That's
just
all
kind of keep moving here. I know that we're kind of on a time frame here.
We're
but
zigging and zagging, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
It's kind of the fun part of radio.
That's right. That's all right. It's all right. Just like relationships, you know what? Sometimes there's a few speed bumps.
Yeah, there is. It can be messy. So we'll come back and we'll play that. You get to come back next time and you get to hear all about it. So let's spread some love.
Let's spread some love. You betcha. So yeah, we're again, Stacey and I. We realize everything we're doing is to acknowledge also this part of our show. Spread some love. Acknowledge other Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, bodies, organizations that are doing good things. And this is from Carol Bryant, and she has an awesome group called Fidos of Reality. And here's what she had to say.
I'm Carol Bryant, and I am the founder of FidosOfReality.com. I also own the trademark My Heart Beats Dog. You definitely want to find a partner, a spouse, a mate, a significant other who shares your love of pets. If your dog, your cat, your ferret, your rabbit is an important part of your life, you've got to find someone who feels that same connection. I have found that in being with my wife for 28 years, we share that love. And it really just works out so much better because pets are like kids. You can call them a pet, you could call them a dog, a cat, but ultimately they're like kids because they're a responsibility. So they do have an impact on the relationship. If the pet gets sick, if you want to make travel plans, if there's something going on a weekend, you have to be sure that your pet has someone available to watch them. Or if you're like us, you involve your pet in all of your activities. We love pet-friendly travel. I know a lot of people do. So if you're in a relationship or you want to be in one and you love pets, my best advice is to find someone who shares your philosophy. And if not, show them to the door.
Show them to the door. That is true. And what we're talking about here is you don't have to feel the same about something, but if you have a partner that absolutely is passionate about pets or other things in their lives, then it has to be cherished and honored instead of trying to enroll them out of their passionate experience for that, right? And so it looks like we have that wonderful
mom acknowledging her son. I think we have that with our incredible sound engineer.
Hi, I wanted to give a shout out to my son. Kyle, your sense of humor and love of life is contagious. The way you care about your wolf pack is something to see. Believe me, we all love you right back. Thank you for being you, the kind-hearted, level-headed, hysterically funny human that you are. I'm so proud to be your mom.
Oh, gosh. If I were a kid, I would have loved something like that, right? Thank you so much for sending that in and for allowing us to share that on the air.
Well, thanks to Donnie and thanks to Carol Bryant again for sharing information and her, wise insight for pets.
No,
So
I
think that's about a wrap, Mrs. Bartley.
Yeah, it is. We have one more little piece though. Can you feel it? And the song is really important because we want you to feel what it is we're talking about. So each week we choose a theme song for our episodes to kind of give you the essence of what it is we are communicating with you. There's the thinking and the learning, which is you listening to our voices. And then there's the feeling aspect of what it is we're talking about. And this one comes from Autumn Detzel. And unfortunately, I don't think she's mainstream singer yet. She has a song literally titled Internet Addiction Song. It's adorable. And she's going to sing it as she plays her ukulele. Internet addiction is not as fun as it seems.
And we don't, just to honor everybody's, rights and staying legal and compliant, you can go to our show notes page, and every song that we Can You Feel It is available there.
Yeah, it's the Love Shack playlist. You can find it on Spotify. We created just for you to have this experience. So check it out.
Right on our every episode.
All right, now it's a wrap, babe. It's all for today. We are Tom and Stacey Bartley, along with our guest Mike Gorday and our fabulous, incredible engineer Eric Ryder. Thank you so much for being here with us today and listening in. Come on back next week as we continue to explore the conversations that impact our relationships, and we're going to have a little bit of fun along the way. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us today in the Love Shack. We hope you came away with something that made your toes tingle. We recommend you keep that good feeling going by getting on our fun list, where you'll stay inspired and have the chance to win cool, fun stuff. Join the fun list at staceybartley.com/fun. That's staceybartley.com/FUN. Love the show? Help us spread the love by sharing the show with others. You can find Love Shack Live along with our past episodes wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll also catch us on YouTube and Facebook. And if by chance you're needing help and support for any of your relationship challenges, visit staceybartley.com. That's staceybartley.com. Okay, everybody, time to go. We got to close the doors to the Love Shack for this week. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Come back next week, though, and join us for another edition of Love Shack Live with Tom and Stacey Bartley.